Hey guys, welcome back to the Python PlayBook series. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a little bit more of a mathematical exercise. So today we want to try and write a program that calculates the volume of a cylinder. So for those of you who can't quite remember what the volume of a cylinder is, it's up on screen right now and it'll be up on the screen later on as well. Pause the video now if you want to go and try this yourself, but let's go ahead and tackle this. So as you can see on the screen here, I've already got my cells commented. Okay, let's take a look at the first cell. So we can see here the first cell asks the user to enter the length and diameter of the cylinder face. So this is somewhat similar to last time, but there's a slight difference. But let's go ahead and put in what we usually see when we try and ask the user to input something. Let's just do a variable L equals input, and then the question that we want to ask, which is in this case, what is the length of the cylinder? Alright, so I've repeated the line again for the second variable, which is D, which is the diameter, but this is all well and good. But we'll see now that this is in fact wrong and not what we want. In order to do that, I'll have to do a quick mathematical calculation just to show you where the mistake lies. But let's just go and run this, and then we'll assign two random numbers to these variables. Just go 10 and 3. Alright, so let's just quickly do a mathematical calculation to show you guys why what I've done at the top cell is wrong. So let's just quickly do new variable, assign that to L plus 2. Why not? So now if we go and run this and then print it out, we'll see that in fact we get an error. So this is curious. Why do we get an error? We should be getting 12, right? So the issue here is that Python's saying that it can't do any calculations with a string. It has to be an integer, and that's where we've gone wrong. We've asked the user for a value, but this value has been stored in the variable L and D as a string, not as a integer. So in order to store the user's input as an integer, we have to make one small change to the code at the top. So what we need to do is type in eval and then encompass that over the entire line of code. So we repeat it here as well. There we go. So now if we run this code, which we'll do again, just why not, do 10 and then 3, we'll see that, there we go, 12 as expected. So that's one key important thing. Whenever you try to ask the user for an input and that input happens to be a number, always remember to type in eval input and then your question. But whenever it's a string, such as in the previous video where we asked for the user's name, then you can go ahead and just put input. Then it's not necessary. Okay, back on the main topic, we want to now try and calculate the volume of a cylinder. But you might be thinking, wait, there's a pi in the formula. How do we put that into Python? So constants and other sorts of formulae are stored in Python libraries. So what we have to do is import one of these libraries to then use whatever's in the library. So in this case, pi. So in order to import a library, we have to go import and then the library name. Now the pi constant can be found in the math library. So naturally we'd go import math. Okay, so now we can just go and assign a variable vol to the equation. So vol equals pi. So in order to import pi into the formula, as I said, we need to import math, which you already have. And then to call in pi, we have to do math.pi. So that has now called in pi from the library that we've imported, which was math. And following that, we have to multiply pi by r squared. And anytime you do any multiplication in Python, it's always represented using the asterisk sign. So we go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we need to do r squared. So let's take a look at r first. So r is essentially just half the diameter. So we can go ahead and do d over 2. And then now you might be wondering, how do we do squared? How do we represent a squared number in Python, or any number to the power of something in Python? So what we need to do for that is use 2 asterisks rather than 1. So it's probably easier if I show you visually. There we go. So that is now d over 2 to the power of 2. But for those of you who are eagle-eyed, you might be wondering, have we got the BIDMAS right? We haven't. So there's one thing that we need to change here, which is essentially putting d over 2 in brackets. So what this does is it squares d over 2 rather than squaring 2. So what we had before was d over 2 squared, which was essentially d over 4, and that's not what we want. Okay, so following this, we need to multiply by L as well to finish off the formula. So we do times L, and once again, you might have noticed we need to put in the brackets around d over 2 to the power of 2, because what we will do without it is in fact multiply the 2 here, which is the exponent, by L. So we'll have radius to the power of 2 times L, which is completely wrong. Okay, so that's the finished formula there. There was a lot of maths involved in it and a lot of nitty-gritty details. So please do let me know down in the comments below if you had any, issues with that and struggled with anything, and I'll be happy to help. Following on from this, we can now just go and print or just, display our variable vol, which was the volume. So we go input the length is 10 and then diameter is 3, and then we run that and run again, And there we go. We've got a volume of 70.685 and then a bunch of other numbers. To check if this is correct, obviously put it into your calculator and make sure that you got the right answer. But I'll quickly put it into Google and it'll give me out the right output. So we have the diameter is 3 and length is 10. So the rate else for the radius here, so 3 divided by 2 was that 1.5. And the height is the same as length, and that's just 10. And there we go, 70.68583. And that is exactly what we got there. Well, to a lower number of significant figures, but it's an approximation. One final touch to it, if you want to add this, you can, is properly outputting the volume. So this is very similar to what we did last time. And if you guys remember, we did print to display anything. And then what we want to do is put in apostrophes and then put in your message, which is in this case, the volume is. And then we want to display the volume. And in order to do that, we need to put in comma and then the variable. So in this case, comma, vol. And now that should print out our required message. There we go. The volume is 70.68. You get the idea. Okay, so that's it for today. There's a lot of maths involved in today's lesson. I tried to pack as much of the arithmetic operations as I could into one video without making it too complicated, because I wanted to try and move on to more complicated but more thought-provoking exercises. So what I thought to do from now on is at the end of each video display the exercise for the next video. So for those of you who want to go and try and tackle it early, you can go ahead and do so. So yeah, in the next video we'll be taking a look at this question here, which is on screen right now somewhere, it should be. So yeah, feel free to go and tackle that, take a look at it in your own time. If you have any issues, please do not hesitate to leave a comment down along this video. I'll be happy to help. And if you have any questions on this exercise here that we just did today, then also let me know down in the comments below as well. I hope this video was quite helpful and you learned a lot. Please let me know if this is going a bit too fast for you guys. If it is, I can happily slow it down and go through it a lot more slowly. But for now, I think that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you all later.